Yonder come little David, said I, with his rock and sling, said I don't want to meet him, said I, he's a dangerous man, said I'll serve him and rest a while, said I. Talk about little David, said I. He's a mighty man, said I. Well, he killed Goliath.
All the sisters back then trying to hit on him.
Yeah.
It was just all over the place, man. But you know why it was like that? Because if you look at all of our southern cities and stuff, especially from back then, they build the jails and the bus station really close together. So people come into the bus station, they get off, get in trouble and stuff, go to jail, and they just down and out, and they just bum around in areas like this, right? And it was just, this was the sewage back in those days. That's what they considered this part of it, you know. It was like nothing good could come out of this area down here, you know. And that was a bit of truth to it. That was a bit of truth to that. Because you had prostitution. You know, I didn't know anything about drugs back then, but I know that they were smoking weed and stuff like that. But as far as drugs, no, wasn't nobody. I never had anybody approach me with any drugs or anything like that back then. But all of the other stuff was wide open. He said night after it got dark, you know, the streets were alive, you know. You have guys coming down here from the other side of town trying to get girls and stuff, you know, hookers and stuff, you know, and you see the girls walking down and say, hey baby, would you like a date? You know. And on that same street that's named after Dr. King, it was laced with rooming houses back then. And I can remember on many occasions, you had some naive white guys coming down there, you know, to get sex. And you could see them falling out of the buildings, you know, down the stairs and stuff, tumbling and stuff, you know. So it was a problem, you know, and they figured they had to clean it up, you know, because, you know, they were going down there getting rolled and robbed, beat up and all kinds of stuff, you know. That's just the way it was, you know.
Wow.
You would figure they know what they're getting into when they came down this way. That's all it was back then down here. National Civil Rights Museum, that's what they call it now. The Lorraine Motel, let you get a good shot of it right there. It's been like that forever, that sign. Now back in the day, they said when a lot of the black entertainers like Sam Cooke and a few of the others would come to town, this is where they would stay, was in the Lorraine Motel. And it was pretty obvious that Dr. King had a mind for contributing to the economy because the Lorraine Motel was black owned and black ran. And as a matter of fact, you can do fact checks on everything that I'm telling you too. After Dr. King was assassinated, the lady that owned the hotel at that time had a heart attack and passed away because she was in such a state of shock that happened in her place, I would imagine. Fact check it. But, okay, now we're going to turn here. And this is the scene where that atrocity occurred, right here. Let's get out and take some pictures.
That'll work.
Memphis, 96.9.
But I don't dare go in there because I brought my sister down here. You know, she moved up north and stuff, and she went in and did the tour. I had seen it before, but I was offended when she came out that they were in there selling trinkets that saying that this was the assassination site of Dr. King, you know. That's wrong. That's wrong. And I feel in my heart that
Turn that down with the channel.
this town, no doubt, it has some people call it an omen. Some people call it bad karma or whatever, but I just think that this town has got a tremendous debt to pay for the things that occurred here over the years. I'm not trying to be a prophet or anything, but if you look at this building right here, in my opinion, the blood of a prophet was shed right here. He was set up. He was led in and set up and killed by some people from this town. But we all know that the government had something to do with it because he spoke out so animately against the Vietnam War. And speaking of which, I'm living proof, as he said, that the Vietnam War was genocide. Why do I say that? I'm still living. I say that because when I went in the Army, I was 16 years old. I went in because I was hurt and I just wanted to learn how to shoot and protect. And I told them I wanted to learn how to shoot. And guess where they sent me? Straight to the infantry at 16. And a lot of people don't know this, but the youngest person, fact check this too, to die in the Vietnam War was a 14-year-old black male. Now, when I went to the recruiter and told him what I wanted to do, you know, there was no questions asked. All he wanted was a signature on a piece of paper. Didn't ask for any ID, birth certificate, or anything. And I was on my way. But I thank God for it because I think it was one of the greatest moves that I made, and it helped secure the life that I have now. And I am so thankful to God for that. Let's get out and take some pictures, bro. I think that we all know ourselves, if we've been around for a while, the difference between a 14-year-old and maybe a 19 or 21-year-old. How can you send a 14-year-old off to die in a war like that and not call it genocide? But I think that they tried to set it up as close to what it was like back then as they could. If you want to go on the tour, you're welcome. You know? But I think there's just a lot of pagan stuff going on in there.
Do want to get those cars though.
And you know, another sad thing about this place is that I remember going away in the military, and whenever I came back home, this is always a place that I would come to visit. And it really saddened my heart one year. I was going through some changes in my personal life. And I sat out here at the change of a new year. And you could see prostitutes coming in and out of rooms. And I just sat there and all I could do was cry. Is that this city would let a spot like this go to being just a place where you have women of the night, you know, doing what they do. And all I could do was sit there and cry and pray. And I'm glad to see what it is now, that it is at least a place to memorialize our greatest leader. But I think that he would really be smiling if this was somehow or another turned into a place where you can bring homeless people in and feed them and give them a place of refuge. He wouldn't like to see all of these rooms just sitting here empty like this. This is not a good way to memorialize him. See those rooms up in there? I think probably the one where that light is. I think that's how they've gone about, you know, marking where the shot was fired.
Point to it again.
See those two Those two windows up in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, because even you see on the side more than a museum. See that on the side?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this could be a. No, I'm not gonna say that. See.
Let me get these cars. How you doing?
Hello, hello.
And you live right across the way.
Right over that way, you know, see that driveway over in there? The driveway, you got the driveway there, and then you got the light post right there. Our house is right in front of that little brick thing, you see that little brick wall right there. And the houses that were rooming houses back then, you could tell the way they were set up. At one time, they were really nice homes, you know? But I guess they just moved out and gave it up, you know? Oh, the first march was on the 13th, huh? 800 of them. Wow, that's a lot of them. No, everything was February, but there was a lot of, I guess there was a lot of tension going on in January coming up to this time, you know? And they knew it was coming. Yeah. That right there, that's what really kind of spearheaded everything. Guy was just trying to keep warm, man. You know, it gets cold here. Back in those days, we were having 4 distinguished seasons. I can remember a lot of stuff coming up to that day. You know, they were talking about the conditions and stuff like that, but then I guess things really started hitting the fan once February rolled around. But let's go back over here to the end and see. I'm trying to remember the date. The date that his march was broken up. I want to say it was the 22nd. And he vowed to come back, you know, to lead it. But we had that big snowstorm here, man. Whew. I never saw a snowstorm after that in this town that would match it. And as a matter of fact, it will still be on record today as a record snowfall for that time of the year as well. 29th. Okay. I knew something happened on the 29th. Now, back then, like you see that on Monday, the 11th, what the young people were doing back then, they were having what you call a Black Monday. Don't go to school, you know, go and march in support of the sanitation workers and stuff. And I remember the day that that march broke out. I was attending Hamilton High School that day, and you had children that were gathered out on the campus wanting to march from Hamilton downtown to join up with the march. But the cops, they quickly broke that up, you know. I don't know if the people got word of that downtown or what, but there was some word that people heard about it downtown that what. And this is just rumors out that's what started the young people on Bill Street to breaking stuff up, that they got the word that, you know, that what was going on out at Hamilton High School. I can remember that one distinctly, you know, how the kids were trying to get off campus and the police were running them back up in, you know, to disperse them and stuff, you know. Some of the kids were throwing stuff, you know, but I think that what they realized then is that, hey, we're dealing with a different brand of people now, you know. These young people coming up now are not going to be tranquilized with fear. That's the only way I know to put it. But we're going to fact check some of these dates we've been talking about, though, right? Well, he wasn't any good at all. I refer to him as Pharaoh, because Dr. King was our Moses, and he didn't want him here at all. And as I said, it's proven that he was a pharaoh, because Memphis, just like the Memphis in Egypt, has a great pyramid that sits on the great old man Mississippi River. Just like the pyramid in Egypt, in a city called Memphis, has pyramids too. So there's a very eerie, I get an eerie feeling when I think about it. Because I think about the plagues and stuff, and Memphis is definitely a plagued city. Number one plague is violence. I think that this all has a lot to do with it. Killed a righteous man here on April 4th, 1968. And I remember